What was first just a dream has become a frightening reality.
One of the coolest ships in the galaxy, Far, Far Away, makes its live-action appearance in Ahsoka Episode 6 for the first time in 32 years. One of Star Wars' most spectacular starships makes its live-action premiere in Ahsoka Episode 6 for the first time in 32 years. It is highly exciting that Grand Admiral Thrawn, Lars Mikkelsen, who was found in exile in a completely different galaxy, will soon return to the Star Wars universe. To that purpose, the terrifying live-action premiere of none other than the Imperial Star Destroyer known as the Chimaera coincides with Thrawn's live-action debut in Ahsoka. While Darth Vader's Super Star Destroyer, the Executor, may have been a force to be reckoned with, Grand Admiral Thrawn's Chimaera was one of the most potent and capable cruisers in the Imperial Navy. The Chimaera was first introduced in Legends alongside Thrawn in Timothy Zahn's 1991 novel Heir to the Empire, and it was brought back into the official canon alongside Thrawn in Star Wars Rebels. To that purpose, the dynamic history of the Chimaera in both canon and Legends is provided here. It also explains why the wait for its live-action debut in Ahsoka Episode 6 was well worth it. Star Wars Legends and Canon, the Chimaera's history since 1991. Chimaera from Star Wars. The Chimaera, who served as Vader's Executor's second-in-command in Legends, took part in the Battle of Endor. Gilad Pellaeon, who had initially been in charge and had issued the order for the Imperial retrenchment following the destruction of the second Death Star, later rose to the position of Supreme Commander of the Imperial Remnant. The Grand Admiral selected the Chimaera as his flagship and Pellaeon as his right-hand man once Thrawn returned to command the remaining members of the Imperial Navy. The Chimaera became the focal point of the Imperial Remnant as a result, despite the fact that it was ultimately taken over by the New Republic, recovered by Pellaeon in the Star Wars Legends timeline, and then lost again. The Chimaera was always Thrawn's throughout his ascent to the position of Grand Admiral in the new and legitimate Star Wars canon. The Chimaera, the flagship of the 7th Fleet, was instrumental in the liberation of Lothal as depicted in Star Wars Rebels, but it was forced into hyperspace by a pod of star whales led by Ezra Bridger, who was the Jedi who sent himself, Thrawn, and the entire crew to an unidentified location. The Chimaera ended up on Peridea, the original homeworld of the Night Sisters, which is located in a different galaxy, thanks to Ahsoka. One of the coolest ships in Star Wars is the Chimaera, which can be seen in Ahsoka Episode 6 in live action. Thrawn's Chimaera, one of the most distinctive Star Destroyers in the Imperial Navy, has a stylized three-headed serpent, the ship's namesake, on its underside. Even before being enlisted in the Empire, Thrawn's personal insignia was the Chimaera. In the official Star Wars universe, the elaborate imagery would consequently come to represent Thrawn as a prominent symbol of fear, and many of the people who served under his leadership bore the same emblem on their uniforms. At Thrawn's suggestion, the Chimaera also received significant upgrades. The magnificent Star Destroyer is notable for having 8-barrel cannons instead of the more common double-barrel cannons found on other Imperial I-class Star Destroyers, as well as additional turbo lasers around its command tower. The Chimaera may therefore fire at extremely high rates of intensity, utterly bombarding and overwhelming its targets to an even greater extent than the majority of the starships that originally comprised the Imperial Navy. The Chimaera is undoubtedly one of Star Wars' coolest ships due to its distinctive weaponry and eye-catching aesthetic aspects that highlight Thrawn's love of art and culture. It was worth the wait when the Chimaera made its live-action debut in Star Wars. The Chimaera, which made its live-action debut after 32 years, still bears the wounds and lasting damage caused by the star whales who carried the massive spacecraft to a different galaxy in Star Wars Rebels. But Chimaera seems to be sufficiently intact to have been Thrawn's flying base of operations during his exile. In light of this, Morgan Elsbeth's hyperspace ring appears to be sufficiently large to dock with the Chimaera and transport Thrawn and his remaining forces back to the main Star Wars galaxy. It appears that the assurances given to the Imperial Shadow Council by the canon Captain Pellaeon in Season 3 of The Mandalorian are being fulfilled, since Thrawn's reappearance has signaled a rebirth in the military of the Imperial Remnant. In the event that Thrawn does really make his way back to the main Star Wars galaxy, it will probably be on board the Chimaera, where it can be restored and put in a special role as the flagship of the Remnant, with Thrawn serving as the heir to the Empire. It would undoubtedly be a thrilling and dynamic reimagining of the starship's original function in Legends.